Welcome to The Fiber, brought to you by Live Oak Fiber, where we weave together the stories of leaders, entrepreneurs, and changemakers who are the very fabric of their communities. Join us as we spotlight those who embody the spirit of connection, resilience, and progress. Hey everybody, Garrett here with Live Oak Fiber. Thank you for tuning in today, and I've got an awesome guest with probably some famous people, I guess, St. Simon's Island would consider, but we have Brad Hummel with Southern Soul BBQ. If you're watching this, you probably know who they are, or if you like Southern living, you definitely have read about them. Diners, Drive-In, and Dives, you've probably heard about them too. But Brad, thank you for coming in. I'll let you.
It's my pleasure.
I'll let you introduce yourself and take it away.
So, as you said, I'm Brad Hummel. I'm the executive director of what we call the Firebox Initiative. So that was created by Southern Soul BBQ in 2018 to help give back to the community. So what some people may or may not know, in March 2010, Southern Soul burned to the ground. And they didn't know what they were going to do, and the community rallied around them. And we had golf tournaments and concerts and raised all sorts of money so they could pay their staff while they were closed.
That's awesome.
And themselves and their staff. They didn't pay themselves anything, but and then just through the years, they just did it out of their own pocket or out of Southern Soul BBQ. They helped anybody that came knocking on the door. Mm-hmm. And in 2018, we decided to create the Firebox Initiative and create a not-for-profit to help raise money to help those in the community that are in the restaurant business and maybe down on their luck.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So
it's been cool.
Yeah. I was reading a little bit about it over the last few days just to kind of catch up on everything.
Sure.
It's an awesome initiative that they've done, and that's strictly because of the fire that occurred. Was it 2010?
2010, yeah.
So they had this idea, or is it mostly just because people rallied around them?
Well, so they did it out of their own pocket. So a little bit of history behind the barbecue event that we have now. So in a previous life, I worked in the hospice industry. Mm-hmm. And particularly at this point, I worked for Hospice of the Golden Isles. And everybody had a fundraiser. You know, the Cancer Society had the red dress ball, and everybody had their thing, and hospice didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And so we started the St. Simon's Food and Spirits Festival. And one of the events of that festival was called the Barbecue Pro-Am. And it was a Southern Soul event. Davis Love brought his friends, and every pit master was paired up with a golf pro. And, you know, people got the vote, and it was a really cool event.
That's got to be super entertaining.
It was amazing. Some of the pit masters or golf pros would come out and they would cook all day with the pit master. Some would show up 20 minutes beforehand, but they were so kind. They donated their time. They loved hanging around the pit masters and the stories that were told. I mean, we had people like Maker's Mark sponsor it one year.
Oh, wow.
So it was a big event. And then I got out of the hospice industry, and that event kind of went away. And that's when the guys came to me and said, hey, you started this. Why don't we do a not-for-profit and do our own barbecue event? And so that's what we did, and that's really the origins of Firebox.
And you guys, I guess, is it like a almost like your main event is kind of coming up relatively soon, right?
It is. So in the years past, it's been called Barbecue on the Bluff. Mm-hmm. But everybody's so busy, and it's kind of funny is we didn't think anybody would be able to come this year because everybody's crazy busy. And so we changed it to Barbecue on the Block. So we're kind of taking it to the people. So we did it at what's called Gascoigne Bluff on the island, and everybody came to us. Now we're taking the party to the people. So we're taking it to the pier. So it's going to be right around Frosty's Griddle and Shake down at the pier. Mm-hmm. And then Mallory Street's involved, which is where you guys come in. Mm-hmm. Live Oak is sponsoring the band for 2 nights, Rolling in the Hay. And so that's a huge deal. It's going to bring people in just to come see them.
Absolutely.
But we're just having a block party, literally. And the pit masters that we didn't think would come, they're all coming.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be an amazing event down at the pier.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Is it mostly, so the pit masters are obviously, you know, they're the main draw, like they want some good barbecue. Yeah. Are these people all around the nation, or is it just kind of the South?
So it's really East Coast.
Okay.
We've had people in the past as far as Australia come.
Oh, wow.
But this time, I mean, we have legends coming. Sam Jones out of the Carolinas and Casey Bringle, Peg Leg Porker out of Nashville, Tennessee. the Fox brothers, Jonathan and Justin out of Atlanta, who have multiple restaurants up there, and just their friends. So it's kind of cool.
It's just
if you look around, and when there's a catastrophe, there's actually a barbecue group that goes out, relief group that goes and cooks when there's a natural disaster or whatever. And it's barbecue people that do it. You don't see sports bars doing it, right? You don't see pubs necessarily doing it. No knock on them, but the barbecue family is very close knit.
Yeah,
they can, I guess their motto is kind of "Have smoker, will travel," right?
Yeah.
And so, and Southern Soul's done that before we did when the big tornado hit Tuscaloosa.
Yeah,
I lived in Tuscaloosa.
I was reading about that a little bit.
Yeah, I lived there for 9 years as a kid. And so I still have a lot of friends over there, and I called them up, and I was like, what can we do? And they're like, we just need supplies.
Yeah.
And I put something on Facebook, and within 5 minutes, Harrison Sapp calls me and says, where do we need to go? How do we get there? Who I need to talk to?
Yeah.
And they packed up a smoker and a pickup truck and a box truck, and they left the next morning and drove to Tuscaloosa and cooked for a week.
Jeez.
And literally, and we went over there and took supplies, and we went over there and drove around and handed out barbecue, and they fed the first responders from Louisiana. They got so much praise during that. I mean, these guys will do anything to help someone else out.
Yeah.
That's just who they are.
How long have you known Harrison and Griffin?
High school.
High school. Okay, so you go way back.
I go way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of Griffin. He doesn't like to be on camera as much as Harrison does? Or?
He doesn't, but he's a marketing genius.
Is he?
So when you see the social media post and all the ideas behind the marketing, that's Griffin.
Okay.
And recipes. You'll find him in the kitchen every now and then. Burger day, like today was burger day.
Okay.
Promise you he was in the kitchen this morning figuring out what that was going to be and putting it all together.
Does he do like a new recipe kind of every time like that? Or
yeah, every Wednesday's a different burger.
That's awesome.
It's never just a basic burger. I mean, you can get that burger, but Wednesday's always something special, and that's kind of Griffin's thing.
Okay. And Harrison, so the funny thing is, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this one.
Sure.
He bought his first smoker in 2005, 2006 sometime. Right. Had he ever done barbecue to like this extent prior to that?
No.
So he just decided, I want to try it.
Harrison, he just did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But no, not barbecue to this extent.
He just knew. He's like, oh, I'll give it a go.
It was his calling. Yeah. The guy's amazing.
That's funny.
I think his hands are leather. If you ever see him around the fire, he'll just grab a piece of wood and throw it. And I'm thinking, there's no way.
I feel like, once you get burned that much, you probably just don't even feel it anymore. You're like, it's whatever.
But that guy has the biggest heart, though.
Yeah.
So when we started Firebox, one of the biggest – so – first, let's talk about Firebox first and foremost. So Firebox, we help people in the food service industry when they're down on their luck.
Yeah.
So, they don't get PTO.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them don't even have health benefits or whatever. So when they're out of work, they're out of luck.
Yeah.
And so what we do, they can go online into our website and they can fill out a grant application. And the grant team meets every Monday and reviews them. And if someone calls and it's an emergency, we'll call an emergency meeting, but typically it's Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
And we pay people's rent, whether it's a portion of it because they're out for a week or they're out for a month, and all of it. They can't get to work without transportation, so if we want them to get their car repoed. So they have to have a legitimate excuse.
Yeah.
They can't just be like, well, I'm not getting enough hours. You can go find another job like we've all done in our life, right? But if they have a legitimate illness, whatever the cause is, the grant committee will review it.
And this is for anybody, right? This is for the restaurant owners or just regular employees?
It's for anybody.
Okay.
And so in COVID, we started, it was a 2-week shutdown, right?
Yeah.
So we were going to do $250 checks to help people, just a COVID grant. And the restaurant sent us a list of their employees, and poor Kitty wrote out every single check by hand, right? And we're thinking, it's 2 weeks, we're good. And we had some money in the bank. We were good with it. We got down to about $5,000 in the bank, and we're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, we had like $52,000 when we started. We got down to $5,000. We're like, what are we going to do? And here comes Griffin's magic. I'll put something on Facebook.
Yeah.
Checks started flowing in. The community rallied.
And this was all from just like Glen community and the kind of the surrounding areas.
I mean, we actually had people. There's one lady, we don't know who she is, what her tie was or why she did it. But she just walked in like 3 months in a row with a big check and handed it off at the register. Didn't even order food or anything. Just gave him the check and walked out.
God bless.
So we gave away, we started with about 52 in the bank, and we gave away almost $175,000 in $250 increments.
Yeah.
During COVID.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
a lot of buy-in, too.
That's a lot of checks.
Yeah, that is.
The thing of the people that, and then we ended up with more money in the account after the fact,
just
after giving all that away.
Have you guys, I guess, talked to other organizations outside of this area that have kind of taken influence from you to kind of do something like this?
So we got our influence from a group called the Giving Kitchen.
Yeah.
In Atlanta. Are you familiar with the Giving Kitchen?
Not super familiar, but I read about it, yeah.
So now they've pretty much gone national. They've really gotten big, and we're still focusing on our little community.
Yeah.
We do have other pit masters that come down here that want to start it in their communities.
Yeah.
And so we're talking to them. We're going to try to do an event, I think, in the spring.
That'll be awesome.
Up north with one of them. So
okay, that's super awesome. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I guess you don't even think about it until, especially for the tourism industry or the restaurant industry and some of these people that just, they can be out of a job just like that.
Just like that. I mean, there's a local restaurant that just flooded.
Really?
It shut down for probably till November.
Jeez.
And so we've talked to a team member, and the general manager is going to get us a list, and we're going to see what we can do to help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us your story a little bit, because I know Firebox is obviously a huge initiative from Southern Soul and from you guys.
Yes.
Tell us a little about Southern Soul. Tell us about Griffin. Tell us about Harrison and kind of how they got started. I know we've hinted at it a little bit, but I think for anyone that's not familiar, these two guys are incredible in many ways. But let's get into them a little bit.
So Griffin is interesting because he's a master promoter. So when I talk about marketing, so there used to be a bar where Iguanas is around back. There was Dancing Danny's, which was a little nightclub bar. And then up front, there was and I'm drawing a blank on the name, and that's kind of where the Marley came from that they serve on Mondays. But Sunset Cafe.
Okay.
And Griffin would book bands for that and for other people.
Okay.
So he was a promoter. He did bands and live music and events and whatever it was. And that's especially, man, he can bring people together.
Yeah.
He can rally the troops like nobody else. That's awesome. Just who he does.
It's a unique characteristic to have.
It is.
Almost the life of the party where it's like you can bring everyone to the house.
He's wicked smart.
Yeah.
He would never admit that, but he is wicked smart and artistic. We joke with him and the girls at the restaurant all the time because he draws on the chalkboard the daily special, and they're scared to death to do it because his looks like something an artist rendering, and theirs is like block lettering.
I've always wondered that because there's a lot of restaurants that I'll go into that have like all the specials or just the menu is just so perfectly written, and my handwriting is the same thing as like a child. Yeah, I can't do it. I don't know why.
But he does it. It just looks cool. Yeah. I mean, it's just cool. It's he's got way more ideas than he's probably ever put into action. I'd like to get in his brain a little bit.
Yeah,
because the guy's amazing. And then it's Harrison and also Kitty, his wife.
Okay.
They're a little power couple. They work hard. Kitty runs all the back of the house stuff, the bookkeeping and all that, and gets everything done on that side, and then Harrison runs the pit crew. But as people, again, Harrison's always been nice.
Yeah.
He loves to laugh. His laugh is contagious. It'll absolutely crack you up if you hear him laughing. He's just good people. He has a huge heart. So back to Firebox, so the initial part's the restaurant. Very first meeting, Harrison's like, I want to do something for the kids in the community. So we started a scholarship. He wanted to do a scholarship. We did our first one last year. And you could just see the pride, him beaming from being able to do that, to give these kids some money to go off to college.
Yeah.
And they have to work in the restaurant industry.
I saw
that. Or
their
parents do.
Yeah.
So
it was like 200 hours. You had to have 200 hours of
work over the year. Yeah. And so so it's giving back to those that are serving others, and that's who Harrison is. He serves others.
Has he ever said like he never thought he'd be able to do something like this? I mean, again, starting in 2006.
I think he probably pinches himself all the time.
Yeah.
He really does, because they've been super successful, but they're very humble.
Yeah.
Right. They don't. Neither one are driving around in Range Rovers or these, $75,000 pickup trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, Kitty and Harrison have 2 old pickup trucks, and Griffin has like a little Honda Element, like a little beach car with like surfboard rack on top.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they're just very humble people. They work hard.
Yeah.
And they have an incredible staff. So the crew at Southern Soul has been very loyal to them through the years, and it's because they've treated them so well.
Yeah.
So it's cool to go and you see the same faces all the time.
Yeah. And he's there, or they're both there probably every day, right?
Yeah. So
they haven't taken a step back in all these
Harrison's more the early bird, because
I've seen some of the videos. He's like, if I can get up at 3 a.m. and start cooking, that's all I'll do.
He's got to go make sure that the guys are on task, right? Yeah. And then Griffin usually comes in a little bit. I say a little bit later. It's still like 9 or 10 in the morning. Right? It's not like he's coming in at 2 and stuff, But then he kind of lingers around in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's awesome. Now the funny thing is on Diners I can never say that right.
I know.
I'll go triple D.
Triple D.
Yeah, triple D is easier.
That's easier. Yeah.
The funny thing was that he was talking about his the rub that he does on everything.
Yeah.
The recipe, he says, is all was created just to find out a way that his son would like it.
Yeah.
Is that the 100% truth with that?
That's the truth. Brent works there.
Oh, really?
Their son works there,
That's hilarious. Is he trying to become like a pit master too?
I don't know. He's learning all of it. His parents are making sure he learns all the business. He's run the register. He's expedited. He's worked in the kitchen. He's washed dishes. He's bussed tables.
He's doing everything.
They're making sure he does all of it. Yeah.
Well, that's probably how you get that work ethic like they have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, what other initiatives besides, we talked about scholarships, Firebox.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that Southern Soul is pushing for, or any ideas that are coming from Griffin that they want to push?
Ooh, I'd be scared to even guess on that. Nothing that I know of right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have other pit masters that are interested in doing something similar to Firebox or extending Firebox to their communities. So.
Okay. Have Harrison or Griffin thought of opening another restaurant? At least in the local area?
No, they've definitely talked about it in the past. They had a Brunswick location at one point that they were thinking about opening, and it just didn't work out for one reason or another. And I know they've looked in other areas. I hate to say anything but I know they looked at Asheville, I think, a long time ago, but they have some funny rule about you can't burn wood in the city limit or something crazy so
interesting.
It's kind of hard to do what they do.
Yeah. Now, talking about the food a little bit, what is kind of their signature, dish?
Well, I think they're pulled pork.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a worker special that's, I think it's less than $10. You get fries, a drink, and a good-sized barbecue sandwich.
It's not bad at all.
My favorite is Monday.
Yeah.
So it's Marley Monday. So it's it's jerk chicken burrito with black beans, cheese, pineapple, sour cream, jerk sauce. Phenomenal.
And who created that one?
I think that came from Sunset Cafe with
that's
Griffin.
right. You were saying that. That's right.
Yeah. And then Wednesday's Burger Day, Friday's Prime Rib. They're closed on Tuesdays. It used to be Pork Chop Day.
Okay. Did that one get moved, or is it just unfortunately to the wayside?
It just pops up as a special every now and then. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then Saturdays usually they have a bunch of different wings to sample.
Yeah.
Different things to do.
I'll have to try it. Yeah, I've driven by it so many times and I see it.
You have to. Sit in the courtyard. I mean, it's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
Or sit at the bar, at the counter. That's where we sit.
Yeah. And then to talk about a little bit about the fire that actually, I would say almost kicked off this everything. Did they ever figure out what happened exactly?
It's my understanding that, the building was all wood. It was an old building, and maybe there's a cigarette got flicked and rolled up next to the building and burned.
All that.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, the cool thing that connects you and us a little bit is that I believe you guys are not our first business customer, but one of our business customers, which is always exciting for us.
That's right.
So we've never had on our podcast actually one of our customers, at least not our business customers yet.
Yeah.
So that's all exciting, and I feel like I have to ask just because I want to as well. Have you guys been enjoying it so far?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I talked to Griffin about it the other day because y'all are digging holes all over the island.
Yeah.
And he loves y'all. He said he hadn't had any problem with it at all.
That's awesome.
Loves the service, loves everything about it. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's good.
Now, I guess going back to talking about that, if we could stay on that subject a little bit. In the past, did you guys always have kind of issues with connectivity and making sure that your point of sale systems was always online, or was that always...
I think it's I think it's always a problem, right? But I think more so now than ever because Southern Soul's using the toast system.
Mm-hmm.
And so connectivity is more important than ever.
Absolutely.
Because they have handhelds. They don't use them as much, but they're there. They use them to check guests out and stuff in some instances. So, yeah, connectivity is huge.
Yeah. Have you been? Have they implemented anything new since having our service at all?
I don't think so.
No.
They threw a TV up in the courtyard last year for a while, and then I guess they decided they didn't want to do that. It's hard to protect it from the elements. But no, not really. They but there's no complaints at all. None.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
You guys have been, I know, like Brian Bennett talks highly of you guys quite a bit. He's our business sales guy.
Yeah.
He probably hooked you guys up from the beginning too. But he's talked nothing but good things about you guys, especially the food. And
well, you need to get there.
I do.
For sure.
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of, I had one question on that I wanted to ask, and of course now I'm forgetting it.
Yeah.
But, God,
that's all right. While we're at it, I'd be remiss not to mention the other sponsors for our Firebox
Absolutely, yes.
block event. So our title sponsor this year is Cisco, the food company, not the telecom company, right? So no competition or anything. Yeah, exactly. SYSCO. So they've stepped up big this year, not just in product, but they also are making a substantial donation to the Firebox Initiative.
That's
so
awesome.
We're super thankful for Cisco. Of course, you guys are sponsoring 2 nights of live music at Mallory Street Cafe and Bar, which is, I don't know if you've been there. You should go for breakfast if you're ever on the island. Lance and his son do a great job over there. And of course, Queen's Court. Queen's Court's right there on the corner. It's an old, it's kind of just like a beach hotel, man. It's just really cool throwback.
I think I know what that is.
Right across from Mellow Mushroom.
Oh wait, yeah. It's like a
little courtyard. It's like it's a motel.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
But they're sponsoring all our pit masters this year, and they're all staying there. So everybody's going to be in that area for 2 nights, just having a big time.
Now, when you guys do events like this, is it kind of featuring one of the pit masters on any given time? Kind of like, I'm almost thinking of like if you look at like almost like a rave or some sort of music festival where it's like there's a main stage for every time slot. So do you have pit masters that kind of do something like that?
We did that with the St. Simon's Food and Spirits Festival. We're not doing that now. So you're literally going to show up at Frosty's. There's going to be a fenced off area, and there's going to be booths. There'll be a place to get some tickets out front, and you just trade in the ticket for samplings or whatever. And, it's all a fundraiser, so you're going to have to buy tickets. But you can go booth to booth. You can give all your tickets to one if you like that particular protein or whatever they're cooked up. And it's usually a protein and a side. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you'll just be able to wander and eat and drink and be merry.
That'll be fun.
We had, Wild Heaven beer. We have Virgil Kane coming to our Thursday night dinner. So yeah, it's a cool event. Yeah.
And the great thing is, if I remember correctly on your website, still 100% of these funds go towards Firebox Initiative.
That's
so
right.
Absolutely none of it goes towards anything else.
That's right.
And the great thing is I saw since, I guess, technically 2018, you guys have delivered over $300,000.
Yes.
Now,
over 850 grants for north of $300,000.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That's such a huge achievement. Yeah.
Listen, it's cool. And Kitty and I talk about it all the time. It's one of the coolest things we've ever done other than, getting married and our children, right? I mean, it's every week we get to help somebody. Yeah. Right? Right or wrong or be able to get their rent paid for. Yeah. Because they, COVID, we've had people have heart attacks at work. Yeah. And couldn't work for 2 months, and we were able to help them supplement to get their rent paid so they're not evicted while they're dealing with their recovery. So, I mean, it's really cool what we do. The party's fun. We do different events throughout the year, but every Monday's the coolest part. Yeah. That's the blessing.
Do you guys often get some of because I imagine that plays a huge role in some of the servers' lives too.
Oh, for sure.
Do you get to talk to them often and maybe even explore ideas on how in additional ways you can help them?
Man, they usually give them to us.
Them, but, oh, really?
People are so thankful, no matter what the amount is, because we can't always do what they ask. So we don't do medical bills because the hospital, you can sometimes pay them $20 a week for the rest of your life, right? And they'll deal with it. but landlords don't. Power
Yeah.
company, they don't. Cars will get repoed.
Yeah.
So we try to focus on the things that help them get back on their feet so they can go earn a wage
Yeah.
to get back to work, and pay their own bills, get back on their feet.
Yeah.
So
That's such a cool initiative.
and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm telling you, Mondays after the committee meets, that's about the coolest thing we do.
Yeah. So who's on this committee, if you don't mind me asking?
We just have a board, a group
Okay.
of people that just meet. Yeah.
And then you guys people will go in and out over the years, or is it?
Yeah,
usually
it's pretty much been the same people.
Yeah.
One of our big, I say donors, supporters, he's not on the committee, but he's deeply involved in Southern Soul and with us is
Yeah.
Davis Love III.
Okay.
Davis is, he's been so good for our community, and he doesn't ask for recognition. He doesn't ask for publicity. Matter of fact, doesn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
He just helps. He helps out.
Now you're
lot.
getting it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And a lot of people, a lot of his friends will help.
Yeah.
Like during COVID, I think it was Brian Harmon. Somebody posted on Twitter to donate.
Mm-hmm.
Still Twitter back then. It wasn't
Yeah.
X. Wasn't X yet. So yeah, the community around here, we wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be around anymore.
No, 100%. And your website is 100% correct with it too. It's when it comes to the tourism industry, the food is arguably what's going to keep bringing you back.
Right.
You get the views, but if you're not eating well, you're not coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And these are the people that serve us, right?
Yeah.
Not just the rich and famous, but the everyday Joes like us who go to a restaurant, right? And then there's a waitress that walks up. We don't know what's going on in her life.
Yeah.
She could have totaled her car on the way to work, but she still went to work because she needed the money
Yeah.
to pay the power bill. Now she can't get her car fixed, right? And so we have some flexibility in what we can do to help people.
Yeah. That's such it's such a cool initiative.
It is.
I mean, I feel like I want to talk about it all day because it's such a, you can't say
it touches everybody.
Yeah.
Who doesn't go out to eat?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the restaurants we've helped, I think it's 125 or more restaurants in the area. So we just expanded this year to incorporate McIntosh County.
And that's
Darien, just north.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and we've helped there before, but we made it official.
Yeah.
And then
does that require like certain filings to be?
It doesn't. No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Just us saying we want to help.
Yeah. And they're
And
just
so-
like, all right.
Yeah. They don't mind. And we don't help a lot up there. But we've helped some, but it's north of 120 or 25 restaurants.
Yeah.
Some have come and gone through the years, but it's a lot of people.
Yeah. And how can normal people like me or other employees here, just the average Joe, how can they get involved with this organization to help out in any way they can?
So we have a link to volunteer or to donate on our website. And our website's pretty simple because it's Southern Soul BBQ. So it's SSBBQ, firebox.com.
I'll put that right here somewhere too.
Yeah, down
Down in the comments and somewhere on the screen, I think.
Yeah,
But,
SSBBQ, firebox.com.
and what can people expect to do if they're volunteering? Is it just make sure they're there?
we'll need help the night of the event.
Yeah.
And we'll try to structure the volunteers so they don't have to work the whole time.
Yeah.
Right, they can go enjoy some
can
of the
enjoy.
event and help us out at the same time. So, but just a little bit of everything. We occasional office work if we do a mailing or anything. But it's mostly event oriented help
Yeah.
that we need.
Yeah. Okay.
We're pretty streamlined. We're pretty efficient at what we do.
You got good at it?
Yeah, we've gotten good at it. Yeah. Poor Kitty's hand gets cramps. I think she's
gonna need
worked
someone
it
to
up
write
now.
for her soon.
Exactly. Can you sign a check?
Yeah. A lot of people say yes to that one.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately,
Actually, maybe that's not true. People my generation,
don't.
I'll
sign
say this.
checks.
I've probably written 3 checks in my life.
Wow.
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's
and I think
crazy.
all of them were 3 months in a row.
Yeah.
When I lived at a place, I lived in Los Angeles at the time, going to school.
Yeah.
Moved in. A couple of the guys had moved out for the summer.
Yeah.
I moved right in. They're like, we don't take credit card or debit card. You can't do it like individually. I'm like, so how do I pay you? And they're like, a check. I'm like, where do I even get a
Where'd I
check
get
from?
a check?
And I had to go to the bank. And
That is crazy.
they're like, I need a checkbook. And they're like, well, how many do you need? I'm like, I need 3. Because
That's
I knew
it.
exactly how long I was going to be there
Yeah.
for. I knew when I was leaving.
Yep.
And they're like, we can just give you 3 checks for like $10. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And then I literally had the lady there. I was like,
Show you
how do
how
you
to
fill
do
it out?
That's great.
I've never filled one out.
That's great.
Never done anything else. Like, this is it. And I haven't written one since.
Wow.
That's my generation.
Wow.
So Kitty, unfortunately, I don't know if anyone my generation can help you.
No.
You might be stuck with that one forever.
No, she's amazing. Kitty is the unsung hero of a lot of things that happen at Southern Soul and with Firebox.
Yeah.
She works her tail off. She's amazing.
And they've all kind of lived in this area for a large portion of their life. Because I remember, if I remember correctly, Harrison lived in Hawaii for a decent chunk of time.
So Kitty's not from here. The other two are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long, if you already said, I've already forgotten, how long have they lived in this area for? I know at least since high school.
They've been back?
Yeah.
Well, I've known Harrison and Griffin probably since middle school, so that's a long time. I'll age myself if I tell you, but I mean, I graduated high school in '88, so we're talking early '80s.
Okay, so they're ingrained.
They're here.
Yeah,
they
love everything about this community.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and they support it. I mean, we've done things. We went one Thanksgiving to Brunswick High and served Thanksgiving meals to people that couldn't do it, and Southern Soul did all of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the kind of people they are. Yeah. They literally did all of it. We showed up, and I volunteered, and we went and unloaded, and anybody that showed up that didn't have a warm meal, they fed in the Brunswick High cafeteria.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is it about? Obviously, you're going to speak for them on this case, but what do you think it is about Brunswick and just like maybe the greater area that they just love so much, and why does it keep them here?
I'd say for Griffin, it's family.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's here. His brother runs, one of them runs Southeast Adventure Outfitters. One of them, Peter's running Frosties. Mom is here. So I think it's family. It's comfort. Griffin likes the beach.
Yeah.
He likes anything islandy. I mean, the Channel Marker Bar is his baby at Southern Soul.
Yeah.
And it's very islandy, and he goes to the islands on vacations, right? So I'm not going to say where, Griffin, but he goes on to the islands for vacation. So, and I think for Harrison, it's just home.
Yeah.
His brother's up in Savannah now, but he
not too far still. Yeah.
Not too far, but this is home to him.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. He's not he loves to travel. He and Kitty love the travel, but he's just kind of a creature of habit, you know. This home is where the heart is. He takes care of his people here, takes care of his business here, and when he can, he'll jump on a plane and go somewhere.
Good for him.
Yeah,
I feel like you earn that sometimes. Just like
he has definitely earned it. You can definitely see it in his eyes and his hands. I talked about. He's earned it.
Yeah. He seems like the guy. Again, I've never met him personally, but he seems like the guy. It's like he's dedicated to his craft.
Well, the cool thing about him, he's the guy that if he knows you, he's going to walk across the street to shake your hand.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of guy he is, right? He's not going to be like, "Hey, Brad, how you doing?" He's going to walk over and greet you and talk to you and engage, and that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool.
That's cool. And then you mentioned it, the Channel Marker Bar. I forgot about that one a little bit.
Yeah.
That's relatively new to the.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was all of Griffin's kind of idea. I know
that's his baby. Yeah. Does
he come up with some
tiki
of the
hut? Yeah. You know, it's his baby.
Does he come up with some of the cocktail menus?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and it changes seasonally. They have great bartenders out there. A lot of frozen drinks. A lot of like Jamaican rums and things like that you can't get at any other bar. So it's a fun place to hang out.
Just adventurous. He's
Oh, Griff, adventurous is a good word for him. Mischievous.
Yeah.
He's fun.
Yeah. And I'll have to get out there. I have to.
Dude, you have to.
I know.
You have to.
If this I was supposed to be here till Saturday.
Yeah.
But this hurricane, I live in Florida. We're just east of where this hurricane's supposed to hit.
We might as well stay here because it's not going to be much of anything here.
I
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I would, but me and my fiance just bought a house not too long ago.
You better go home then.
Yeah, so right after this, I'm actually just driving straight back.
Yeah.
But I would be there if I could.
Next time.
Yeah.
Next time up, let us know.
Absolutely.
We'll get you over there and feed you right.
Heck yeah. I know. I love some barbecue.
Yeah.
I can chow down.
Well, you'll love it. I mean, this is not put in a time machine and cooked. This is old-fashioned barbecue.
Yeah.
Brisket just melts in your mouth.
I love pulled pork is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But I will always go for some sort of brisket if for some reason I'm just feeling different that day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, because they always say they use all wood. It's all oak wood. I'm not much of a pit master at all.
Me either.
Has he ever explained like what why he only decides to use wood? Is there really that much of a taste difference? From
I
like,
think
whether
there
using-
is.
Is there?
Yeah, I think there is.
Okay.
You can tell. You can tell. It's hard to say. I guess I can tell if it's been like a little piece of wood's thrown into this time cooker, and I've been to barbecue restaurants where they put it in a rotisserie, an oven, and they set it and they go home and they come back at 10 o'clock the next day and it's ready to go, right? And not there at 3 and 4 in the morning, making sure the fires and the embers are burning to get it right. And I think you can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah. And that's a lot of maintenance too, because you do have to make sure that you're keeping that temperature.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's some dedication, getting up that early every day.
and it's doing it right.
Yeah.
Right? That's how they do it. That's why they can go anywhere and help anybody, because all they need is a smoker and some protein, and they will get it done.
They'll get it done.
Yeah.
Now, if you can provide any insight, for them to be named in all these magazines as like, top spots in the South or top 50, what was it? Top 50 in, was it the nation? I don't remember exactly what it said.
Yeah.
But to be on Triple D and all these different things.
Yeah.
What goes into something like that? Like how many people have to refer and talk about Southern Soul for someone like Guy Fieri or these magazines to come out and I guess give you a test?
Well, I think everything starts with obviously the simple answer is a quality product, right?
Yeah.
And a unique environment, and unique personalities, which they definitely are.
Yeah.
Then you gotta have a good promotional company,
Yeah.
right? I mean, let's be truthful, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have people pushing the right buttons and people putting it out there. But so Triple D's been there, came again not too long ago.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, we were actually there in that one. That was pretty cool to do. But yeah, it's everybody you see in those shows is unique, right?
Yeah.
They have a unique personality, even more so than their food. And I think that the genuine nature that these guys cook and love what they do, along with their different personalities. I mean, because they are different. They're totally different. But they're each gifted in their own way.
Yeah.
One couldn't have done it without the other. Harrison's going to cook amazing barbecue the rest of his life, but he's not the promotional guy. He doesn't like meetings, right? He doesn't like, he don't want you to send him a long text. Forget about it. He's not going to read it. He's going to call you and say, what'd you send me?
Yeah.
Right? He's not going to do it. And Griffin, like I said, is the master promoter. And they both rolled their sleeves up when they got started, and it was the two of them.
Yeah.
Right. And then, it's really morphed because of who they are as much as anything. Because I think you can go anywhere and get, good food.
Yeah.
But when you have that personal touch and the great service, that's what makes a restaurant exceptional.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can go somewhere and you can get great service and mediocre food and you'll go back.
Oh, yeah.
If they have great food and terrible service, you're probably not going to go back.
Yeah.
Right. If the waiter's rude or waitress is rude or the staff is rude, somehow they've managed to put those together and they're both great.
Yeah. It makes it worth it too. I mean, I would imagine it makes it good for them because then they see those same people all the time that are just like, I'm here for you. That's really about it.
And even them, Harrison can be in the pit house and Griffin's writing on the chalkboard, but the staff.
Yeah.
And they greet you with a smile, and it's the same smile for years.
Yeah. And it's genuine.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's the same people for years and years and years. They're amazing. That can't go understated, right? I mean, their staff is spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool place to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. And where are you guys located? Just so everybody can
the
know.
main roundabout on St. Simon's Island.
All right.
So come on the island, you can't miss it. Follow the smoke.
Yeah, it's a good one, actually. But, all right.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in.
It's my pleasure.
Southern Soul is the place to be. I will have to go get it. So, unfortunately, I can't speak on it for myself. But if I can believe Guy Fieri and all the magazines, it's some of the best barbecue you'll find in the South.
And first weekend of October, Firebox on the block.
I'll put that in the description as well and right here, and you can click the link, follow it, support them. Support Firebox, most importantly. That's awesome. But support Harrison. Griffin, Brad, you guys are awesome. And thank you so much for coming in today.
It's my pleasure.
I'm so glad to have talked to barbecue and one of our first.
Can't wait to see you in the restaurant.
Yeah, I will be there hopefully in at least a month or so.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning into The Fiber. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe. If you want to learn more about Live Oak Fiber, visit us at liveoakfiber.com.